Welcome to Reading is Best channel. In this video, I am going to talk about how to evaluate automatic thought and replace them with more balanced thought. This video is based on cognitive behavior therapy, or shortly known as CBT. If you have watched my previous videos about CBT, then you might have already got the idea about how our thoughts can bring change in our moods, behaviors, and physiological reactions. Well, if you haven't, then pause this video right now and watch them. As per CBT, it is very important to work on our thoughts to bring change in our moods, behavior, and physiological reaction. But it doesn't mean replacing our bad or negative thoughts with positive ones. Rather, it stresses on having more balanced thoughts. Let's see how it's done. For example, let's take this scenario. Ram called his friend Hari, but he didn't pick up the call. Now, different thought starts coming in Ram's head. He starts thinking, did I make some kind of mistake that Hari started to ignore me? Am I that bad? Maybe it's because I am not fun to be around, and so on. Well, what thought comes in your mind depends on your experience and belief system. But obviously, this type of thoughts will make anyone feel bad both physically and emotionally, even behaviorally, by making one to engage in self-destructive behaviors. This is where CBT comes into play. He can use the following technique to evaluate his thought and replace them with more balanced one. First of all, he needs to be aware about his emotions. If his emotions or moods shifts dramatically, then he needs to ask, what am I thinking right now? Because most of the time we are not aware about our thoughts. They come automatically and are very quick. So we just notice our emotions. That's why those thoughts are called automatic thoughts. Once he is able to identify his thoughts, he should find the evidence that support his thought and the evidence that don't support his thought. He should ask, what are the evidence that support my thought? While listing these evidences, he should try to avoid interpretation but rather focus on the facts. Example of Ram's interpretation is, he must be very angry with me because of yesterday's event. He always ignores me. Similarly, example of facts can be, Hari didn't pick up my call. Now he should ask, what are the evidence that does not support my thought? To make things easier, he can ask following questions. If my best friend or someone I loved had this thought, what would I tell them? 5 years from now, if I look back at this situation, will I look at it any differently? Will I focus on any different part of my experience? Now the third question is, if my best friend or someone who cares about me knew I was thinking this thought, what will they say to me? What factual evidence, information, or experiences will they point out to me that suggest my thought is not 100% true? The fourth question is, have I been in this type of situation before? What happened? Is there anything different from this situation and previous ones? What have I learned from my prior experience that could help me understand this situation differently? Finally, the fifth and the last question to ask yourself to find out the evidence that don't support your automatic thought or your distressing thought is, are there any positive in this situation that I am ignoring? Is there any information that suggests there might be a positive outcome in this situation? After asking all these 5 questions to ourselves, we can easily find out the evidence that don't support our automatic thought. And using the same technique, Ram also found his own evidence that didn't support his automatic thought. Here are his evidences. I am calling at the wrong time. He generally tends to get busy at this time and keeps his mobile in silent mode. His next evidence is, he is my best friend. Now the next evidence is, I generally tend to think negatively as I have low self-esteem. And the next evidence is, in the past also same thing had happened. I had misinterpreted the situation and felt really bad. These are some of the evidences of hurry which did not support his automatic thought or distressing thought. After this step, after finding out the evidence that support and that do not support the automatic or distressing thought, we need to look for the balanced thought. We can find out the balanced thought by looking at the both evidence that support and that don't support our automatic thought. This balanced thought takes account into both positive and negative information. It is an attempt to understand the meaning of all the available information. To figure out our balanced thought or to get our balanced thought, we need to ask the following questions. The question number 1 is, if someone I cared about was in this situation, had these thoughts and had this information available to them, what alternative views of the situation would I suggest to them? Now the second question is, if someone who cares about me knew I had this thought, what might this person say? That is another way of understanding this situation. After asking these questions, Ram's balanced thought can be, he might be upset because of yesterday's event, but he is my best friend. So I don't need to worry very much, just need to go there and apologize to him. He didn't pick up my phone because he generally remains busy during this time and keeps his mobile in silent mode. After this balanced or neutral thought, he comes to the conclusion that will certainly make him feel much better. These are the basic questions we can ask ourselves when we notice shift in our emotions or moods. First of all, ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? To determine the distressing thought that is causing the distress or significant change in our emotion or mood. Then find out the evidences that support this distressing thought. After finding out these evidences, now find out the evidence that don't support this distressing thought. And finally find a more balanced or neutral thought, combining or looking at both the evidences that supports and that don't support this distressing or automatic thought. In this way, we can evaluate automatic thought and replace them with more balanced thought. And every time you feel strong negative emotion, try to use this technique or this method. You will certainly feel much better. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, don't forget to like the video and comment down below. And to watch more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel.